their sacrifices have increased in the last. It started increasing in the early 80s. The amount that they were doing is increased, and they use a lot of druidic holidays to do this, but they have other days too. They've mixed all of these satanic and what are called satanic holidays and druidic holidays, and in order to have these rituals, which ritual seems to be important to them, but they also use it in order to drink this blood. They seem to need more.
Have you any idea why it's increased since the 80s?
So there are changes going on in the earth. It seems they're not able to hold their shape.
Seems like reptilians are real, right?
And people see them shapeshift more and more, and they need the blood to try and maintain it, to try and maintain their human form. I believe there's a time coming that because of what I've been told, when they are not going to bother having to hold that human shape as they had to before, and they want that time to come. It's almost upon us.
So when you're talking about the fact that the veil is lifting on these reptilians so that people can see them far more easily, far more often, does this relate in any way to the fact that there is this desire to bring in this rigid structure, including microchipping and many other things, across the year 2000, which has become known as the New World Order? Is that coming in because it is known that the people are going to see what the game is, and there has to be control of the people at that time?
Yes, it's very connected. I started talking about the New World Order back in 1990, and I was very psychologically and physically affected so much by what was coming out. I wasn't watching television. I was not aware that certain individuals in this country, George Bush, were talking about the New World Order. I was talking about it because that is what was coming out, and knowing that the first time that inside of myself that I'd heard it was in conjunction with the Nazis, and that came from Mengele. And I started realizing that there was something going on, and then it scared me. And I didn't really look into it for years, but I was being harassed constantly. I was being told. At one point, I had someone telling me that I was being, and who was ex-Army intelligence, ex-CIA, telling me that I was being monitored by the National Security Agency. And I didn't have the whole story then, so I did not totally understand why this was happening. But yet I was being followed by cars or vans that said G12, G14. And in this last year, which has really been very hard, I've been followed by G41 vans, and I had to find out what those were, and that is naval intelligence. But this whole thing is going towards around the year 2000. And when they are going to establish themselves openly as a new world order, and it's headed toward that. And that's what everything is being prepared to, or prepared for. And I have actually I've got a sleeping program right now to return, because I've left, but to return for that time. And it's called End Times Programming and Janus Programming.
And Janus relates back to Nimrod of Babylon.
Yeah, there is a group that used to be in contact with me all the time. and they stopped trying simply because I didn't obey them. They would be in contact with me all the time. They're called Janus, which is also the two-headed Roman god of change. And their headquarters is in Brussels, Belgium, in the NATO building. And they are a group of psychiatrists and doctors who are into mind control. And they are one of the many groups involved with the Illuminati. And they would contact me and tell me, give me directions that I was to psychically kill this person or psychically injure this person or scare this person. They'd give me the location. And I started questioning this, and I had a contact who since has seemed to have disappeared because she couldn't get the funding. And I had called her about this group, and she's the one that was the ex-CIA, ex-Army intelligence person, and she knew about these people, and she said, yes, you're right. This is what is going on.
From your experience being brought up in this Illuminati environment, were you ever told anything about where these reptilians came from, and what is the history of it all?
I was made to learn through Mothers of Darkness, which is a certain aspect of the organization, because that was an early part of my training, the history of what was the Illuminati on this planet. And
so
what I learned was that
she definitely telling the
the
truth.
Aryans originally were from Mars, and the reptilians came to that planet they came from another place. They came to that planet. They came to rule because they wanted to mix, so they said, with that race. And but they became the
pause for a minute, chat. How that sound, chat? So pretty much, if y'all don't get what she's saying, she pretty much saying that the original white people are the Aryans, and they come from Mars. They had their own planet. Like I know there's good white people back there. I've been saying that, and like the reptilians are the real bad guys. You know what I'm saying? And like, let's just talk about the white woman for a second. Let me go to the main topic of the actual white woman. Like, bro, can't no man lie, bro. No man on this planet, I don't give a fuck what shade you is. Every man on this planet wants a piece of that white vagina until you realize that, you know what I'm saying, how toxic dating, like, the nature has made it by it being targeted so much, by her being targeted and can't be herself and just choose who she want to actually be with, you know what I'm saying? And like, it's been like a fucking, like, Jesus Christ. I don't even know how to explain it, but I know that that's true. Like, the fucking reptilians been chasing fucking white women, like, everywhere they fucking go. And the crazy part, you know, the white people just trying to make themselves safe. They came here, you know what I'm saying, not thinking that, you know what I'm saying, the reptilians gonna fuck around and find them here. And all they did was open it up to more genres of women. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jesus Christ. It's the women and children are really in trouble. And they got us men going to war fighting each other, you know what I'm saying? Leaving all the women and children home alone while we going out and fight. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's really vulnerable. Like, we already over there getting killed, and the women are not even being protected. The children are like, it's a lose-lose situation, guys. Wake up.
Overlords. And the Martians or Aryans were seeking to escape from it. They went to the moon and then were there attacked. And they then went to Earth.
I see why Big Homie she sees like, and I'm so much behind it with protecting the women and the children, bro.
And at that point in time, they were doing well, and they were mixing
The
with
women wasn't
the
ultimate
indigenous
deceiver. It was the
population
man. Let me
of
stop
this
talking.
earth
She's
and
talking.
getting along with. And then
The
about
woman just know how to
4,000 years
follow in the
ago,
man's footsteps.
the
She
Aryan
learned
or
everything
the
from the man.
reptilians arrived here and again began to take over. And they instilled themselves in different places underground in the earth, and also this one part of them, the ruling part, took over and became involved in the politics and in the religion, and started controlling through these means at that point in time, and using the gods
16 years ago, she
and
using the word
deities
meme. 16 years ago, nobody
were
was using
believed in
meme.
on this planet
That's just today's word.
started
This woman is telling the authentic
infiltrating
100%
into that
truth.
and becoming that.
Open your ears,
And
guys. Open your
things
minds.
blood rituals started happening. And since that time, that is the way that it has been. And presently, they claim to come from the Merovingian bloodline. They are all of there are 13 bloodlines in Europe that all of what are called royalty are developed from or come from. And they include the Aryans in this, and there's been a big push in this century. For example, when Nazis came into power, the fascists, talking about the purity of being pure and staying, the Aryan bloodline staying pure, and what it actually is all about is keeping the blue-eyed, blonde or light red-haired people, the bloodlines pure, because it is more powerful. And what is in that blood for these reptilians is more powerful, and they need that. And when you start mixing it with people that were indigenous to this earth, then it is not as powerful. It has nothing to do with someone skin color or nationality. It has to do with keeping the bloodline pure for their use.
So blonde-haired, blue-eyed people are the purest from the reptilians' point of view, and that they want to keep that bloodline pure because of how they need to use it.
Yes. When I realized.
And this is what I draw up of why they want y'all bloodline so bad, white folks. Is because y'all have the only bloodline that can like pretty much be like mixed with and tainted, and the other bloodline can still say it's mine and not say it's y'all's. Like if y'all get my drift, like pretty much like a white man can have sex with a black girl and the baby's still gonna come out black. Like y'all genes don't dominate. Everybody else's genes dominate over y'all. If they was to breed with anybody else, they get dominated, or they don't know what they come up with. They come up with something extra dominant over themselves. So the only thing they can think of is coming with something that they automatically, all right, when I mix it with this, I just get, so I just get my regular self back. I don't get nothing, no extra, no, you know what I'm saying? Or I get a little lesser than what myself is, you know what I'm saying? But I get like traits of myself. But if I mix it with the indigenous people or anything else, like nah, I'm jumping out the gym with it. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna create. That's what I got of that. That's a highly guessed opinion. Don't shoot me for that. But I have a million people that agree with me on that, I'm sure.
That it had to do with blonde hair and blue eyes. I could not do anything about my eyes, and I am not able to wear contacts. I would have brown eyes. But one thing I did do was cut my hair off, because that was part of the rank I was. My hair was down to my knees, and I colored my hair darker. And there were times when after I did cut it off, they had gotten to me, and so the hair would be light red. But that is being in compliance with them. And I did not want to be in compliance to them. I want to expose them, and this is part of it. And I won't be what they want me to be.
When you look at some of the ancient accounts, like the Sumerian texts and many other accounts, they talk about the gods interbreeding with humanity. Is this relevant to the reptilian way of infiltrating the human race?
Yes, it is, because human beings through the ages have accepted God's interbreeding or being accepted as humans, and that shows in Christianity, it shows in Judaism. It also, they have used Egyptology or the Egyptian religions a lot, and the present head of the Illuminati compares himself a lot with the Egyptian god Osiris and Horus, which is Osiris reborn, and also with the Arthurian legends of the Round Table, and he has a name. The name that he carries from that is Pindar, which actually means phallus of the dragon. And the other name, Osiris, he has carried because he takes the name at this time, the Marquis de Libero, which means liberator of or from the waters. And the story of Osiris is that he was cut into 14 pieces and thrown into the River Nile. And the one piece, Isis found the pieces and put them back together again. And she could not find the 15th piece, which happened to be the phallus, so a gold phallus was made. And this is very important in this group in the Illuminati. This is important, and it's important.
So is that why they went to Iraq to fight Saddam Hussein? Remember they were saying it was some type of giant. You gotta do the math. That they was looking for, that they had. Now she's saying that the ISIS went all through the Nile River, found 14 pieces to a body. But how the hell the 14 pieces still together? That's crazy. And they couldn't find a 15 piece, so they made a gold piece for the 15 piece.
That about the head of the Illuminati, because what comes from a golden phallus would be a superior seed for a race, and this is how this is what they are doing with all of these bloodlines to keep the bloodlines going, are impregnating Aryan people of Aryan blood that hold high stations with them, impregnating them with this seed of Pendar. And therefore it's important to keep this history in mind and the names in mind that he is going by at this time.
So would it be correct to say that the reptilians came to this planet because the Aryan Martians came to this planet, and that the Aryan Martians gone somewhere else that have followed them there?
They would have pursued them all over the universe. Yes.
Can we now go into some specifics about your own experiences? What were you brought up to do? You say that you were identified as a bloodline before you were born. What was the role that you were brought through to play?
The role that I was brought through to play was, as in the Illuminati, was as a goddess. Specifically, the address is Mother Goddess, Starfire. And the Starfire goes back to the blood in the menstrual blood, what is contained in that. And the address, the way that I was addressed was Mother Goddess. There are only 3 Mother Goddesses. There can only be 3 at a time on this planet, and there is a male equivalent of which there can be only 3 of them.
Why mind control someone to conduct these rituals, like yourself? Why don't these reptilians just conduct their own rituals?
They don't seem to have the psychic abilities, and they look for people that have that and people in the bloodline that have that. And I've had that. I've had a tremendous amount of psychic ability. And so I was picked and bred from before birth, and this is also something that other survivors that have been in high positions have known about me and told me.
What's the connection then between you having psychic abilities, those being recognized from the start, and you being brought through to conduct their major rituals?
Well, it's kind of twofold. First of all, they needed the psychic abilities because they attempt to control events, because I would have the ability to foretell what was going to happen, and they needed the information to just try to control it to an outcome that was good for them. The second thing is that during the rituals, you had to have psychic ability. You have to be very powerful in that way to call out the old ones that are also reptilian, that come from another dimension. They actually they materialize from out of another dimension and are present at rituals, and they are so powerful, and their presence is there's such an evilness about them, and they want out of this other dimension, and they can't. They have to be called out by someone who has that power, and the reptilians don't have this power. That's very important. That they don't have this power to call out these old ones that have to do with them. And
what is it that humans have that the reptilians don't have, that means they don't have the power to connect interdimensionally, and some humans do?
We have the ability to foresee, to be able to become vibrationally higher, and see into those levels, go into those levels, and in fact, agencies use this. They call it remote viewing. These humans have the ability to go into the past, go into the future, to go to other places, to astrally leave their body, astrally, and to see things that we've always had this ability, and it's like having a third eye, which they don't have. They don't have this ability. So during ritual, these old ones are called out, and they are what Christianity would have called the demons. They are called out, and there is a circle that it has a hexagon in there, which is a powerful occultic symbol, and then there is a pentagram, and then there in the middle of that there is a triangle, and if you're the one calling them out, then you stand in the triangle so that you're not devoured or taken by these creatures that come out.
That creates an energy field around you which they can't penetrate.
They can't penetrate it, and they cannot get outside the pentagram, and they want out. They're always demanding to be let out, and so you have to be very powerful to keep them in line and to make them go back when it is time for them to go back.
Why do the reptilians want to manifest these quote demons at the rituals?
it brings power to the rituals. It brings power to them. They are told things by these entities, and they are encouraged to go on with what they're doing, and knowledge is imparted to them through these entities. But it takes a person with the ability to bring them out and make them answer, because they don't want to cooperate. They have to cooperate when the right person has control over them.
It has to do with that person's energy and ability to use
Right.
it.
Yes.
You talked about the Aryan race coming from Mars. One expression of it seems to be very clearly what we call the Phoenicians. The Phoenicians had two deities, St. George, which became a British deity, who defeated the dragon, which seems incredibly symbolic, and also St. Michael, who, according to the legend, banished Satan, or this negative force, into the abyss. Is this symbolism of the abyss anything to do with the fact that these reptilian demons of another dimension are somehow locked in a time-space prison, and they can't get out, and they can only get out when they're brought out in that way?
Yes, they want out of that dimension. They have been thrown into that dimension, and they can't leave that dimension. And that's actually what the abyss is about, is being in a different dimension. It's like something to do with the fourth dimension. And before I even knew, for example, what I was saying, I realized what I was saying, I would be saying things to my therapist and other survivors that the fourth dimension was a dimension to stay away from. Not at that time understanding the whole thing.
Why do these rituals take place at certain key times of the year, and so often are related to the phases of the moon?
Because the moon has an influence on this planet, and also the sun. These also take place during different things that go on with the sun, but the moon it's kind of a really very cyclical thing with the moon. It takes place on full moons, new moons. It has to do with the current religion, or what they're using, the Druid religion that they've taken and used. They still hold on to the Egyptology type of religion. They hold on to the Druidism, though, and they're currently calling themselves Druidic or Druid. And Druidism is tied in with the cycles of the moon, on which it has to do with planting, sowing, and harvesting. And there are so many days that they can use from this to their own purpose and their own end, that they bring it about. There's a lot of ritualization with Druidism, and they love ritualization.
So take us through one of these rituals that you conducted at the highest level of this global brotherhood. What would happen?
There were people that were bred from birth. They were bred to be ritual sacrifices. I have a problem with what they is said a lot today, especially by the False Memory Syndrome Foundation, that how could all of these people disappear, or how could all these babies be born? I worked with a nurse midwife. We did home births, and it's very easy not to register a child when it's born. And then they have these children that they're kidnapping and bringing in from other countries, and no one misses them, because these are third world countries, and the children are they have the most energy, the purest energy. They're the highest form of sacrifice, and they will terrorize these children and mind control these children. And in rituals, when by the time they're brought into rituals, they may be drugged, or they may not be drugged, or they may be in an altered state because of the mind control. And they are used as actual blood sacrifices during these rituals because of, again, reptilians needing their blood. And they will take various organs from the sacrifices, depending on what date the ritual may, what the ritual may be associated with on that date. But they will also slit the throat from the left ear to the right ear, and the blood will be gathered in a goblet, and it will be dispersed among the reptilians, and dispersed among, also after that, among people that have been participating in these rituals and seem to have it, even though they seem to be dissociated. Mostly these people seem to be cognizant of what they are doing.
Are these rituals rare? I mean, how many are there that, say, go on a year? I mean, we talk hundreds of thousands.
There are things happening every month of the year. There is not a month in this 12-month system that something is not happening. And it's more than one. I mean, it's every full moon. It's, the very important rituals are the summer solstice and the winter solstice, and then there is the vernal equinox and the fall equinox. And there is Samhain, and there is Beltane, there is Imbolc in February, there is Lughnasadh, which is in the beginning of August. There's a whole week leading up to Beltane, and also leading up to Samhain. It's called Grand Climax.
So May the 1st is Beltane.
May the 1st is Beltane.
That terminology is up there, y'all.
In America,
you know so many terms.
Christmas, almost like a holiday of celebration with the trick and treat.
Fucked up this ring. Hold up, my bad.
But what actually happens outside the public arena that night of Halloween and into November the 1st?
Away from the public arena, there's a ritual that's taking place in 6 different locations in this country for all of the councils of 13. In the area that I'm in, it is the East Side Christian Church on 7th and Temple Street in Long Beach. And it is for the High Council of 13. And in this country on that night, it is satanic ritual. It's actually, there are 3 nights in a row at that church. The first night is Halloween.
What happens on the night of Halloween?
That night is about the worship and homage to Satan. And that is what a lot of people in this country know the devil to be. This is about the devil, Satan. And Christianity talks constantly. I mean, I believe they created the Christianity to be what it is. And so they also have created this Satan. And so they control in that way. And on that night, there's a lot of bloodshed, and there are sacrifices made to Satan. There is a person who plays the part of this in this High Council that has to do with this High Council. He's not on the High Council, but he has to do with playing the part of Satan. He is a televangelist on TBN. He used to be, he filled in for a little while as a lead singer on Iron Butterfly many years ago, and he has long blonde hair.
What's his name?
At this point, I don't recall his name. It just, I recognize his face. I saw it recently on TVN, and then this is his cover, or he is DID, and he plays this part, the great
He's dead.
deceiver Satan, on that night, on Halloween at this
Indeed.
church.
He did.
And that is what happens on Halloween. And I mean, what else I want to say, what is going on with Halloween in this country? It's just becoming so popular. It is also to desensitize people to the whole thing, and even this backlash Christian movement that wants to call it the Harvest Festival. It does not realize that the Harvest Festival has to do with Druidic religion. And again, they are still doing the same thing and celebrating the Harvest Festival.
I remember Harvest
That's what
Festival
the Harvest
shit.
Festival is about.
Are many of the so-called Christian rituals, because that's what they are, or festivals or ceremonies, are they actually, to most Christians, unknowing representations of these satanic rituals?
Yes, they are. If one, for example, Christmas has to do with it's a time. It comes right after the winter solstice, which is a satanic or a Druidic celebration. It has to do, there's a day in there called that day, which is not a day. It has to do with the killing of the old king and the birth of the new king, which is a Druidic day. On the 24th or the 25th at midnight, there is a ceremony that's specifically for children, and it's called the last bulb on the tree.
Where does that come from?
That is something that's used with children. It's part of programming them into the whole thing. And there were things that would happen to the child that hung the last bulb on the tree on Christmas Eve, as it was a common practice to decorate the tree on Christmas Eve, and the tree in itself is a phallic symbol, and it's paganistic.
She's dropping gems, guys.
Christmas is based on pagan day, and back to Roman times, and Christians have given it. They think they have given it a Christian meaning, and it means something else, and it does not. But there is the case that with the last bulb on the tree that has something to do with what happened to this little girl, JonBenét.
JonBenét Ramsey.
Yes, JonBenét Ramsey. And this occurred on this night because of the day it has to do with. It comes right after the...
Okay, guys, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe what y'all think about this video, and be looking for part 2. Love you guys. Everybody stay woke, stay prayed up, and man, be on the lookout for these reptilians, guys.